Hi, my name is Brooke Butler, and you're listening to a coming of age movie.
What's up, everyone? I'm Kira.
And I'm Julia. Welcome or welcome back to a coming of age movie.
This week, we're super excited to be joined by singer, songwriter, and actress Brooke Butler.
You may know her as Ellie from Chicken Girls, Becky from Next Level, or from her own original music and covers.
Brooke, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing great. It's been a crazy morning. Our freezer broke and all of the meat thawed out. And
No.
we have a lot of frozen meat. This is not exactly a vegan household, so I just cooked all of it, which wasn't my favorite, but we have like many Tupperware containers of meat now, which is a bit random.
That is actually such a not talked about problem. It's so random, but like if your fridge breaks, like you're on a timer.
Like
To
you're just
You are.
you have to
No,
eat it all
so
in a day.
yeah.
we do. We have to go through so much meat now. Like, there's not much time, you know?
Yeah, that happened to us like a little bit ago. Oh my God, it was stressful. But yeah, I'm glad that it's a good day though, hopefully.
Yeah. Do you
Awesome.
guys, are you guys roommates?
We are not.
Not yet.
We're just
Okay.
not yet. We're just hanging out right now.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of our episodes are actually like three screens, but today we're lucky and we have two, so yeah, special.
Amazing.
Anyway, so just jumping right into it, how did you first get into singing and acting? What was that like for you?
I've been singing since I was like, oh, I don't even know. I mean, my pediatrician, who's our close family friend, told me that I was singing before I was speaking, and I was like mumbling the ABCs as a baby. But growing up, my mom would pretty much in any public situation ask me to sing. So whether it was for a taxi driver or at a restaurant, in an elevator, like whatever, she'd be like, Brooke, go for it. And I would just sing for strangers. And that like really took me out of my comfort zone. And my whole life, I knew that I wanted to be in entertainment somehow. And by the time I was 13 or 14, she was taking this business class at our like community college and kind of learned all about social media. And so the two of us started like building my social media together. And from there, I ended up getting cast in Chicken Girls, and opportunities kind of came after that, I suppose. It sucks, but it is really like who you know. And once you kind of have that first stepping stone, things do get a little bit easier.
Were you ever involved in any like theater or smaller productions before you kind of jumped into like the big Hollywood productions?
Oh, totally. I did tons of musical theater growing up. Like, I still think I'm such a theater kid. I mean, it's such a great art form and like it brings so many people together. So, absolutely.
I agree. I'm big in theater. I'm trying to get Julia more into it,
I'm
but
getting there. I'm getting there.
You should. You should. It's so much fun. What's your favorite show?
ooh, recently I was in the Drowsy Chaperone. I don't
Oh
know.
my God, that's such a cute show.
I was Kitty and I love her so much. So
Yeah. No, I love the Drowsy Chaperone. One of my really close friends did that as like a high school production, and so that was so much fun to like see people, I don't know, young people doing that show. I think is so amusing.
what's one of your favorites?
This is such a cliche answer, but like I love Les Mis and I also love Oklahoma. It's like both of them are such classic shows,
Yeah,
but yeah, they're both so heartwarming and just, I mean, they're classics for a reason. They're just timeless.
yeah, exactly.
So you were kind of thrust into everything at like a really early age, like you said. But were you able to find any inspirations even then on?
I mean, sure. I think one of the beautiful things about like being, well, I think every songwriter, like regardless of whether or not you're trying to pursue it for a living or maybe it's just a hobby, can find such a sense of therapy from songwriting. And I think that having the ability to do that at such a young age is actually really helpful because going through middle school where everybody's going through awkward periods in their life and like coming into really who you are, it's a great outlet. And I mean, like, it's awesome to hear because I like look back at music that I've written and some that I have released and some that I haven't. And it's so beautiful that I can like see my first time falling in love or like all of these experiences that now I get to like remember in a more concrete way than I may have otherwise.
Yeah, that is so special.
It
Like
is.
it's like finding an old diary, but it's like a bunch of songs.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we definitely want to talk more about your current career, but we have to go back to where it all started. So you played Ellie on the Brat show Chicken Girls. So can you tell us a little bit about your character and what that whole experience was like for you?
Sure. So Ellie is supposed to be like the oldest in their friend group. She's kind of coming into herself, and she was supposed to be like the boy crazy one that like went through puberty first, and I guess that was supposed to be like portrayed through the fact that I'm like taller than everyone else. I'm like 5'9", and all the other quote unquote like chicken girls, they're like 5'4". So there was like a decent height difference there. But yeah, she was supposed to be boy crazy. So I definitely had a lot of love interests, but honestly, that was fun. And everybody was like very sweet that I fake dated. So always good times. Um but yeah, no, I think that was my first ever like real film production. And I mean, definitely the acting was questionable, so given the fact that we were all so young and like so new to things. But no, it was an amazing experience. And I met like most of my closest friends now through that. So I feel very lucky to have been a part of it.
So you mentioned that early on you did a lot of acting in like high school for theater and stuff, and then going to screen acting is like a completely different thing. So how was it for you? What was the transition going from like theater to screen and all of that?
Oh my gosh. Well, as like a theater kid, you have to memorize everything before your shows. And there's so much more that goes into training the actors. I think most of the production going on in film kind of happens more day of. And I mean, obviously there's a lot to get ready before an entire shoot starts. But I remember like my before my first day going in, I just got the script the night before, and I was so panicked because I thought I had to memorize the entire thing in one sitting.
Gosh.
So I was like sitting there trying to memorize it and memorize it. And then I showed up and like nobody knew their lines the next day, and it made me feel so calm. So that's something, is that like a lot of actors really just like look at their sides the day of or maybe the night before, instead of like actually sitting and like running your lines and rehearsing beforehand. So that was really the main difference for me. Also, there's like, dramatic acting using these huge facial expressions and like this wide variety of physicality versus having to act like you're just a normal person having a conversation with somebody where you're allowed to like whisper and, kind of like speak at a more like a quieter volume like a normal human being would. Yeah,
Right.
so there are a few differences, but I still love both of them.
Without putting either one down, or obviously they're both very difficult and very respected, but do you find one to be a little bit more challenging than the other?
Oh my God, acting in theater is so much harder. 100%. Yes.
That makes
And I
sense.
mean, I think it's nice because you have people all around you and everybody's in the scene. Like you're all in it together. And so at least it's a little easier to stay in character, opposed to just having a bunch of random men around you. I mean, and women, just, behind cameras, like awkwardly staring at you while you're really the only one in character. I guess that's one of the more difficult aspects of film. But other than that, I definitely think, yeah, I think film is easier.
And you also played Becky in the movie Next Level. So can you tell us about your experience with that and just what that was like for you?
Yeah, that was really fun. There was a lot of music involved in that movie, and it was honestly just a good time because there were a bunch of kids that I was already friends with, and we had already really gotten to know each other, and we filmed it at a school. So we pretty much it was like a month of my life during the summer, and it was literally like going to a summer camp, because like all we did was like ate food and danced and sang and just like whatever, gossiped. It was honestly just a fun time. Like that was such a low stress production.
That's good to hear. And working as a teen actress while also in high school is such a struggle sometimes. So what was high school like for you, and how did you kind of balance that with like non-actor friends and keeping everything
High
balanced?
school was honestly, it started off great, because originally Chicken Girls was only filming in the summer.
Mm.
And then we kind of got to this point where my sophomore year of high school hit, and I was working on that, but I was also like booking other little things. And I felt like I was working all the time. At that time, we'd already moved, not already, we had moved like an hour away from where I was going to school. And so I was commuting in the morning an hour to school. I'd be there for two classes, leave, and then I'd be on set until like 9 at night. I'd be at home doing homework until like 2. and then I would like go and do the whole thing again and keep falling behind in school. So it was a crazy year of sort of reevaluating my life. And it kind of made me understand like why so many actors decide to homeschool, because it's just not realistic to balance both if you're actually working. um I think it's one thing if you're just like going auditions and you're not actually like on any projects at the time, but I did stay in high school through the end. I just switched schools the next year and ended up being a lot closer to where I was living. At that time, I was way closer to a bunch of studios and things around me, and it made my life 1,000 times easier, but I absolutely do not regret it. It was such a great way to end off my high school career. And I don't know. I mean, if you homeschool, that's amazing. But at the same time, I personally just I don't know. I'm glad I had the school experience. You know, I'm not in college, so I'm really happy to have had that.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. And like since you kind of, had very balanced, school and work life, what did your like non-actor friends think of it? Like did they think like, "Oh wow, like she's out here doing all this other stuff." Like what was that like for them?
We honestly like did not talk about it. I don't know. Like I would mention things that I had to like go to if I had to leave school or something, but it wasn't something that I think came up in conversation very much.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know. I like really don't remember like having those talks with people.
Hmm. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess also if like you're in like LA, it's a little bit more normal,
Yeah.
maybe. Like a
Yeah.
lot of actors there, I guess. I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm trying.
No, I think like you're definitely right. At least definitely the high school I graduated from, there were a lot of actors, like child actors that would like leave school a lot. So I that at that point it became a little bit more normal.
It was kind of like the culture of the like of where you were and everything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like you were kind of saying earlier, both the Chicken Girls cast and the Next Level cast had a lot of teenagers, and you were spending a lot of time together. So, were you able to, hang out with them a lot or form any friendships that are still good friendships now?
Oh, totally. I mean, I honestly at the time I did not hang out with that many people at a set. Like I mean, I had like a few people that were like our families were really close. And so just by association, we'd be around each other a lot. But it really wasn't until probably my last year doing chicken girls that I was like hanging out with these people all the time. Like okay, like Riley and Jules and Pilot, who are three of the other girls on that show, like the three of them, I we didn't hang out like a ton before that. And then like our last season together, definitely Riley, Pilot, and I just developed this really close friendship. We started going to brunch together, which is like a very white older mother thing to do, but it was so fun. Where so we made it a regular thing where we'd go back to the same restaurant and we just gossip and talk about our lives, and they're
Mhm.
like the most wonderful people I know. And it was like I just am so happy to have been on that show because like we are so close now. Like they feel like family to me.
That's very like Friends-esque, like going to the same
Yeah.
place all the time and gossiping and catching up.
Oh yeah. No, but I'm like I probably have like two friends I still keep in touch with from high school, and they're like my main people that still kind of stuck. It's like actor college, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've like heard a lot about this, especially with like Disney and Nickelodeon shows where they kind of had their own little world of like drama and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
did you experience that too? Obviously, without, giving too many
Oh,
details to
sure.
start things now, but was there
I
anything?
didn't really get into much drama, but there definitely was set drama, 100%. I won't get into that because it's not my like tea to share, but
Yeah.
like still, like 100%. That's correct.
That's so interesting to me because obviously it's so many teenagers like together all the time.
Yeah,
There's gonna,
something's bound to
it's just like a
happen.
high school, just not in the
It's
building.
exactly like a high school, but of kids that are homeschooled and act for a living. They're like love triangles, like all kinds of stuff. He said, she said.
Make it a reality
I was
show.
gonna say, I feel like it'd be like so cool to have a TV show about like the behind the scenes of like an actual TV show. So you could like
That's a great idea.
screen.
Wow, let's pitch it. Let's go.
We got this. So moving on, last month you did post a vlog, a day in the life vlog of filming for her movie, which sounded so cool, by the way.
Oh
What can you tell us
yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so they're actually not super confidential right now. That movie is called The Man in the White Van. I don't have a huge role in that, but I got to spend a few days shooting for that movie, and that was such a fun experience. It was so different for me because I think this really felt like I was moving more into like adult acting and less into the kind of teen dramedy world, which I love. Both are so fun in their own ways, but it was just like a great experience to be able to work on something really challenging that like tested my ability to get really emotional and be in super vulnerable situations with other actors, and it was fun. I also got to smoke a fake cigarette, which I'd never done before.
Those are
Uh,
so
I've
cool.
always
Like
wondered how
the
those
herbal
work.
cigarettes, is that like
exactly yeah, no, it was just weird. Apparently I was just doing it wrong, so that was a little embarrassing, but whatever.
that's really fun. Any idea when that's coming out, where it'll be, anything about that?
I have no idea. I just know that I think first that's gonna go through some festivals, and then I guess I don't even really know. I guess we'll find out where that gets pitched to and like where it ends up, but like fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's also interesting. I think when like I feel like there's a lot of times when people are like, oh, like in interviews and stuff, like, oh, when's this coming out? And everyone's like, I don't know. And it's supposed to be like, ooh, like we can't tell you, but it's like, no, we just don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
No, like I honestly have no idea. Like, yeah, I could not tell you. I really wish I could. I wish I knew.
we'll see. We'll all see together, right?
We'll all see together.
And you also release music, and you have a few singles and an EP out. So can we expect an album from you in the future, or anything else?
I would love to put out an album in the future. That's something that I need to kind of work my way up to. Right now, my plan is just to put out a single every few months. I did just finish a song and I'm filming the music video for that in the next couple of weeks. So I'm very excited about
Oh,
that.
okay.
Um, but probably not doing an album for a while until I can either like decide on a label or decide whether or not I'm going to stay independent and then like fund that myself. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes in music that just makes life so complicated.
Yeah, also
Like
an
I
album.
wish I could be just like dropping music all the time, but I'm really excited for like what I am getting ready to put out. And I think that's like totally doable for me. It's just like a single every few months until I eventually am ready to drop an album.
So
Hopefully.
excited for you. Yeah, albums are like really difficult, I feel like you don't realize like it is so many songs and like so much thoughts we put into like everything about it.
Mhm.
Like everyone's like, "Oh my God, like where is the like all these artists like where is the album?" It's like it's not that easy.
No, exactly. Not to mention, like, I think right now it's easier for me in terms of like checking with other people because I'm independent still. But I think once you like get signed with a manager or a label, then you have to like go through so many people to decide what you can and can't post or what you can and can release. Not to mention just like music production is so expensive that I mean like labels are like throwing money around left and right, but it's like different if you're funding it yourself. So I don't know. It's a really interesting world to like to learn about. And that's something that should be a reality show.
Bro, we have so
I was gonna say so many ideas.
I know we're gonna just make so many shows after this. But do you feel like being independent, you have a lot more freedom in like saying what you want and like yeah.
I do, for sure. Right now, I'm kind of at this like crossroads where I've been talking to this manager and we have like this image in mind, and I don't mind it, but it's sort of like, I don't know, kind of having to like take a step back and swallow my pride and be like, I can like take other songs from other writers, and that like doesn't invalidate my ability to songwrite as well. Because as of now, other than the music I put out for Brat, which was stuff that was already written that I was like hired to sing, um like almost all of my music is just like written in my room by me, and it makes me feel like very close to it. But I'm kind of like hitting this point where I'm like, okay, well, I might just have to take a step back, and it's okay if I want to like look at other people's music too. Like that doesn't make me any less of a writer.
It doesn't make
So
you
I
any
don't know, it's kind of like finding yourself, finding your voice, and where that's going to come from.
yeah. So can you take us through your process of like writing, producing, and releasing a song?
Totally. So honestly, when I write, it's usually while I'm doing some mindless task. Like if I'm doing the dishes or if I'm driving or if I'm walking around, I'll like sing to myself. And I usually do that when I like have something that's like troubling me. So if I'm like having relationship problems, or if I'm, I don't know, just kind of like it could really be anything, like anything that's bringing me joy or bringing me pain or confusion, honestly. And I'll kind of just like start with a few lines or start with a little melody and hum to myself. And then I sing into my voice memos. And then um I like start writing in my notes app, and then I keep adding on in like new voice memos, which is why I have so many, and it's so bad because they're all unlabeled, so I never know what anything is. And then from there, I've been working with one producer since I was 14, and I've tried out different people, and I'm still open to producing with other people, but I just love working with him. So I send him my like notes of all the lyrics and the chords if I write to chords, or if not, then I just do it to like my hand, like pounding on the table. And then I'll send him like a voice memo of me singing the song either like a cappella or to my guitar. And then I go into his studio and the two of us start like building a track together. And then I'll just like come back and help him like keep working through whatever track we have to like see the vision that I like have in my head. And then we kind of just go from there, keep recording vocals until it's ready to be mastered. And then I release it.
That's awesome. I mean, I like how you said like a lot of it's just like in your notes and your voice memos. That's kind of the like reality of most of like
Yeah,
songwriting,
Yeah.
I think.
exactly.
Thing. So, kind of off topic, have you ever had like a fangirl moment or just like a oh my god, like just like I don't even know how to explain it. Just like maybe like a fangirl moment like over someone that you've worked with or just met because yeah.
Oh my God, this is not someone I've worked with or met, but everyone would have this fangirl moment. Just this year, I went to Coachella for the first time and I saw Harry Styles, and that was probably one of the only concerts in my entire life that I was like literally I felt like jealousy. I was looking at the stage and I like wanted to like be with that man. I was like, I don't know if I should speak this into existence because then it won't happen. But like I love Harry Styles so much, and I was just sitting there like watching him intently. Like I just was so tunnel vision drawn into this man. So yes, I was fangirling hardcore.
I know.
We would I'm
Yeah.
yeah, that is valid.
I went to one of the Harry Ween nights, and oh my gosh, being in that same room as him, I was just kind of there, and I just kind of like wasn't there. Like I was like he was there, and I was like, that's enough for me. Like I can be here, you can be there. Like this is, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, this is yeah. There was like I
Yeah.
can't even describe it. It was kind of like that like Tom Holland moment, like from that like edited clip of like the Jimmy Fallon interview where he's like, "Oh my God, it's Robert Downey Jr."
Oh,
Like
oh,
that's
I
like it's
think
like
I
it
know what you're
really
talking
feels like
about.
that like every single time.
I like how this is turning into Harry Styles. Like we're just like
Yeah.
we love you.
Literally though, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, what are some cool things that you've gotten to do because of your career?
I've gotten to travel a lot more, I think. Well, no, I think I know. I've been able to see a lot more of the US from like doing little tours and stuff. I've been able to like I went to Florida this year, which is fun. For like different sets, you kind of like go around to different places. So that's my answer. It's just like being able to travel. I wouldn't have traveled as much if it weren't for like working in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, either if it's like oh, like you have to travel for something, or you just get the opportunity, like, because
Just take it.
like if it's like part of your work, then it's not like oh I have to like oh I have to schedule this. It's just like you get to do it. So yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
And what would you say is the best and worst thing about working in entertainment, like for you with your life?
I think, well, the best thing is that my schedule is so flexible. I'm like so grateful that if I want to wake up at 6 a.m. and like do a yoga class and be super productive, I can do that. But if one day I'm just like so tired, I can like wait to make content and like to schedule things until like noon, you know? Like I can choose when my days off are. Like I can make Wednesday my weekend and Saturday my work day. And that's like a really a blessing. But I think probably one of the worst parts is that you're like you are kind of like being judged and watched, and your appearance is so critiqued by everybody so much that like it's difficult to have bad days while being caught up with like a social presence and not like show it to the internet. You know, like okay, I'm like very much like accept yourself and love yourself, but some days, like I wake up and my face feels really puffy, and I don't really want to be like taking pictures of myself to put on my Instagram story. I kind of want to just like be detached from that. But working in social media and in the industry kind of does like bring this narcissism out in you a little bit. And it's difficult not to get consumed with your self image. That's probably the worst part.
Well, because like you are the product like that you're selling in a sense.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
kind of to remember that like you're also yourself and you can't judge yourself too hard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
So speaking of kind of like your off-screenness, what are some interests or hobbies that you do when you're not working that fans might not know about?
Um, I do a lot of hot yoga, like a lot. Um, and it is just my favorite thing ever. I was doing Zoom therapy for a while and I just felt like weird about it because my Zoom therapist was always like eating on camera and like talking to her kid. And I was like, I don't even feel like you're listening to me. So I stopped Zoom therapy and then I started journaling and doing hot yoga all the time. And it has been the hugest anxiety reliever for me. It's like like allowed me to like take a step back and like look at myself as like just a strong, capable person. And not that I didn't feel that way before, but it's like really, brought out like a confidence in me. So that's something I'm very proud of and that I really, really enjoy doing. I love to cook. And I watch a lot of Netflix, which is not exactly an impressive hobby, but I'm a movie watcher. What can I say?
Do you have a favorite movie or someone that you've seen recently that you liked?
Ugh, I don't know about a favorite movie like of all time. That's a really hard question. But recently, the last show that my roommate and I watched, we watched shows together. We watched Nine Perfect Strangers, which was great. It's with Nicole Kidman. It's about this wellness center that like pretty much non-consensually like makes all of their guests like trip on hallucinogens to like discover things about their lives.
You need to watch that. That
You
is so
do.
interesting.
It's so well made. It's amazing.
Where is it?
Um,
Where can we watch this?
I think, oh my God, I'm trying to remember. That's either on Hulu or Netflix.
Okay.
But one that is on Hulu that we just finished was The Handmaid's Tale. Amazing.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Like it's so dark, but it is so good. Like, oh, you have to watch it. If you
I
haven't, that's one of my favorites.
I have a little thing against that because in like 2017, I was like a diehard Stranger Things fan, and Handmaid's Tale beat Stranger Things in like every award show. And
Oh
I
my
had,
God. You know what? I would have said the same thing as you because I love Stranger Things and that's what I'm watching right now. But Handmaid's Tale, like, should have beat Stranger Things. You need to watch it and you'll understand why.
okay, I just finished season 4. She has not watched. I mean,
I'm
she's in the middle of
I'm
season
on
4
episode
of
5
Stranger
right now. I
Things.
just started it.
Oh, I'm like just beginning, so like I'm not there yet.
Okay, we'll
I
keep
don't
going.
know any of the tea, so
We'll
So
like
keep
far, I
going.
like it. That's also.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, and do you have any fun facts or stories that fans don't know?
oh my gosh, that they don't know. I'm trying to think. I feel like so much of my life is public.
Really deep.
Maybe like a
Let's
fun behind
see.
the scenes.
Oh yeah, any like behind the scenes stories too, anything?
Oh, okay, that's a good one. I'm not gonna name names, but here's a little set drama. One time, one person locked another person in the bathroom while they were throwing up in the bathroom, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's a behind the scenes story. Is that one person got like really nervous and like threw up in the bathroom, and then somebody else locked her in there.
Actor high school.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So switching up a little bit again. Do you have any advice for people trying to get started in the entertainment industry?
Honestly, yes. Like, okay, if you happen to live in like big cities where there are like events going on, and in any of like, I don't know how to say this, because like it's definitely more difficult if you're auditioning from places that are like in the middle of nowhere, you know? But if you're based in like New York or LA or like Miami, and there are more opportunities there, I say like go to every possible event that you can go to, even if you think that they're really stupid and you don't understand why you would go, because the ability to network in places like that where a lot of like PR agents and managers, etc., might reside, that's like that's honestly going to do more for you than just spending like all of your time like either like auditioning for commercials because like that might make you like a tiny bit of money at the time, or if they run for a really long time then that could be a really great gig for you. But if you're trying to get into acting or music, 100% keep up your training. Honestly, keep bettering your craft and make sure that you have something to offer. um Network, go to these stupid events because you never know who you'll meet, And lastly, I hate to say it because as much as I think social media is so toxic, it's the world. So if you can like start pursuing social media on top of that, the other stuff will come with it. So that would be my advice.
That's something that we like realized
Yeah.
like recently. I feel like that it used to be, you act and get famous and then you have a social media following, but now it's like totally the opposite, I feel like.
It is, and it sucks, but because I feel like there's so much talent out there that's like not really being respected. But at the same time, like when people used to get big, other people would do that for you. Labels would make you big, movies would make you big, and now it's like make yourself big, and then you can fall into those things.
So it's just a lot of hard work to get the numbers.
Yeah, I feel like that's like because of the pandemic and everything that happened like over COVID, like online auditions and everything like that. It just kind of forced people to go to social media instead of like in-person stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
And lastly, do you have any future plans or goals that you can share with us?
Oh, future plans? Well, I'm going to be putting out a lot of music. Future goals. One day I'll put out that album. I'm just going to keep auditioning, keep creating. I do have a few things that I'm working on right now, but I'm not going to say them because I'm like very spiritual and taboo. And I feel like if I like say them too early, then I'll like ruin it. You know what I mean?
That's what I do. Even with like these interviews, I won't tell like anyone until like it's actually happening.
Yeah.
No, exactly, exactly. Because then I'm like, what if it doesn't happen? And then people start thinking I'm somebody who like says I'm gonna do something and then
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just
Well,
gonna
we'll
keep
we'll look
working and
forward
see what
to
happens.
hearing about those later.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Well, I mean, thanks so much for coming on. We had such a great time.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. You guys are so sweet.
Of course. And if anyone listening wants to follow you on social media, where can they do that?
Oh my gosh, you can follow my Instagram at Brooke Butler, my TikTok at Brooke Butler Official, or my YouTube, which I just started, where you can watch me vlog. It's a bit embarrassing, but that's just my name, Brooke Butler. So pretty straightforward.
And to anybody listening at home, you can follow us on our social medias. Our Instagram and TikTok is at acoam.podcast, and our Twitter is at acoam_podcast. You can follow us there to keep up and hear about more awesome episodes and interviews like this one.
And as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on a coming of age movie.